Happy Saturday morning. Yes, it is an edition of Saturday Morning Stories. I'm a few minutes right before the afternoon, so I made it. So I can still say happy. I hope you're having a great start of the day. And we are going to read two stories, or maybe one. It depends. I always want to go under 19 minutes. So if we can squeeze two, cool. If not, we'll go with the one. But remember, I read these stories real time. I do not read them ahead of time because I want to experience the joy and the surprise of a narrative. And we feature stories of African American subjects, or those of the Black and brown community, or those who are authors from that community, or illustrators. So let's see what we're going to read today. Elizabethy's Doll. Elizabethy's Doll by Stephanie Stouv-Bodine and illustrated by Christy Hale. And this is cool because we see an Ezra Jack Keats Book Award. So this looks like this is going to be a great read. Look at this beautiful artwork and the back cover. Oh my goodness. So we see that this is probably a story from outside of this country. It looks like maybe somewhere in Africa, based on these beautiful cloths and scarves. Let's see. Stouv-Bodine's, yes, and we see so many reviews here. I'm not going to read every one. But Stephanie Stouv-Bodine lived in Tanzania, Africa, as a Peace Corps volunteer in the 1980s. And it was there she met the little girl who inspired Elizabeth's doll. Oh, this is beautiful. She has written 2 sequels to this book, Mama Elizabethy and Elizabethy's School. Stouv-Bodine lives at the Midway Atoll National Wildlife Refuge in Hawaii. How cool is this? With her husband and their daughters. And as far as the illustrator, Christy Hale has illustrated several books for children, including Mama Elizabethy and Elizabethy's School. Hale is also a teacher. Hey! And she's a designer and fine artist. Beautiful. She lives in Palo Alto, California with her husband and their daughter. So this is cool. This is a team of women who have families, and they're going to take us on an adventure. So let's go. So I bet you this is Elizabethy. Yes. And here's the page of dedication where they're honoring the village of Malula and the love and friendship of their doll days. Cool. I love it. Okay. Let's look at the pictures first. Oh, isn't this beautiful? Oh. Elizabethy had a new baby brother named Obedi. Elizabethy watched Mama take care of him, and she wanted to care for her own baby. Yeah. How many of us played dolls? I had Tracy and Anna, and my sister had Joni. And I think one of those baby dolls were passed down from my big sister, but I think I forgot Renee. I think Renee called the baby doll Joni. Correct me if I'm wrong, but all of us had baby dolls. She didn't have a doll, so she went outside and picked up a stick. She tried to hug it, but it poked her, and she dropped it on the ground. Then Elizabeth picked up a rock. It was just the right size to hold, and it didn't poke Elizabethy when she hugged it. She kissed the rock and named it Eva. You know what? And coming to the holiday season, we're going to see a lot of toys advertised. Look, children don't need anything fancy. If they can play with a stick, a rock, we're creative. We're creative. Think about your childhood. You didn't need the most expensive because we'll put it down after a while. So you'll be led as far as what to buy your children. When baby Obedi had a bath, he splashed and got Mama wet. Look at that. The little wash tub. When Eva had a bath, she behaved very nicely and only splashed a little. Obedient. Rock. Look. Yeah. Mama fed Obedi and he gave a loud burp. Elizabeth fed Eva, but she was too polite to burp. You see that? Isn't that precious? This is maternal anyway. Mama changed the cloth wrapped around Obedi's bottom, and it was very messy. Ew. Elizabeth was very relieved to find that Eva's bottom was still clean. You see? She having a good time with her baby stone rock. When Mama, let's look at the pictures. Oh, that's beautiful, the huts and the colors. This reminded me when we were in Africa and we were making these beautiful garments and we had the chance to dye the cloths with different hues, and oh my goodness, it was so intricate. We were able to make the designs. I wish I had my cloth in front of me, but we were able to make these designs like the kente and everything, and it was in a village, and like I said, it was with the high school kids. We were divided in 2 groups, and boy did we have a great time. And to this day I use both of the cloths. Sometimes I use it as a skirt, a wrap, or just a comfort blanket. But it starts all with the imagination. When Mama did her chores, she tied Obedi unto her back with a bright cloth called a kanga. Oh, I guess I was making a kanga. When Elizabeth did her chores, she also tied Eva unto her back with a kanga. Mama had to help a little. Isn't that precious? You see a lot of congas in different countries in Africa and in the United States. Elizabeth went to visit her friend Rahili laughed when she saw that Elizabeth had a rock for a doll. Isn't that precious? It doesn't matter. But Rahili didn't have a doll either. So when Elizabeth left, Rahili found her own rock and named it Melusi. That's beautiful. And the beauty is they're outside enjoying nature. Yeah. On these days where we can go outside, that's why I have this window open. At the end of November, so many treasures outside in nature. When Elizabeth got home, it was time for her to get water from the village well. She took Eva out of the kanga and laid her on the ground near some other rocks so she wouldn't be lonely. Had a play date. Then Elizabeth wrapped the kanga into a small bundle, put it on top of her head, and placed the water jug on top of the kanga. This was how she always carried water and other heavy things. It's beautiful. I love the blue-green teal. Beautiful illustration. Elizabeth soon returned with the water and took it to her sister Pindo inside the cooking hut where all the family's meals were made. Then Elizabeth ran outside to get Eva. But Eva was gone. Oh no. Elizabeth looked all around, but she couldn't find Eva. Oh no. What do you think happened to Eva? Let's see. Mama found a new rock and gave it to Elizabeth. Elizabeth shook her head when she saw it. The rock was just a rock. Pindo also brought Elizabeth a rock, but it wasn't Eva either. Yeah, it wasn't that she made, her baby rock. Now let's just make sure that I did not skip any pages. Hold on, because I want to make sure that we complete this story. Elizabeth was very sad and sat quietly until it was time to help Pendle in the cooking hut. Don't we sometimes feel like that when we lose something? Oh my goodness, what was the last thing you lost? I remember feeling sad for a minute, but I was determined to find it. I misplaced my phone, but then I found it in my backpack. Right? Keys, but I found them. What have you lost recently? I hope you were able to find whatever was missing. Well, it's not a good feeling to lose something. But the story doesn't end this way. Ooh, what do you think is going on? The family had rice for dinner every night, and it was Elizabeth's job to put the pot of rice on the fire pit, which was made of 3 large stones. Hold on. I'm going to let you see this for a second while I run to... All right. Had to run across the room. I'm being DJ, you know, like the jazz ballads in the background. The person who's playing the piano, he's no longer with us, but he's Johnny Costas. He was Johnny Costas. He was a musician in Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. You know, Mr. Rogers was a musician too. He wrote all his songs, but he wanted that jazz twang touch. And when I say jazz, I'm talking about just colorful music. Chords and patterns. Well, that's Johnny Costas, his musical director. And so just enjoy it. So I hope you can match the art with the music here, the illustrations with the words. Elizabeth sadly filled the pot with water and set it on the stones to boil. But one of the stones wasn't a stone at all. Oh my goodness, it was Eva. She recognized the stone, which was her doll. Elizabeth called for Mama, and together they moved a pot of water and rolled Eva away from the fire. Yes, although Eva was a bit dirty, she hadn't been hurt. She was able to find her. Pendle ran outside to get a new stone for the fire pot, or the fire pit, which is just how poor Eva had become lost. Eva sat quietly while Elizabeth cleaned her off and hugged her. Oh, that's good news. That's good news. And let's look. At bedtime, Mama sang a lullaby and rocked old Betty in her arms until he fell asleep. Elizabeth sang a lullaby too, but she fell asleep before Eva did. Oh, wasn't that a good ending? Now look at this. Last page. Mama covered Elizabeth and Eva with a blanket. She smiled and thought that one day Elizabeth would make a very fine mother. Sure enough, Eva thought so too. Isn't that something how we have maternal nature? Whether we're mothering a rock, a stone, what have you. Now I wonder, do I have, I don't have time to read this. This is going to have to be next week. Yeah, next week we're going to read about who is Florence Price. The young musicians tell the story of a girl and her music, talking about another girl, not Elizabeth, not Eva, but Florence Price. So just as a teaser, Florence loved her mother's piano, talking about another mother. She loved her mother's piano playing and wanted to be just like her. When she was just 4 years old, She played her first piano concert, and as she grew up, she studied and wrote music, hoping one day to hear her own music performed by an orchestra. How about that? This is a story of a brilliant musician who prevailed against race and gender prejudices to become the first Black woman, to be recognized as a symphonic composer and be performed by a major American orchestra in the year my mom was born, 1933. So this is for next Saturday. This is a great book. And like I said, we just read about a mother, daughter, someone who had maternal nature. So you might not have a stone or rock, but go and try to care for somebody today for the rest of the weekend, the rest of the week. Someone needs your love. Someone needs your care. And they're going to be all the better because you are in their life. Enjoy Saturday and the days ahead. Bye-bye.